Scottsdale Public Library.
All right.
There are 5 public libraries in Scottsdale.
All right.
4 of them are named for horses. You got like the Musket brand. Yeah, Musket brand. Then you got this one, which is simply known as the Civic Center Library. It gets the boring name. Don't know why, but yeah. Now, the funny part about this stop, this is my favorite stop, but the funny part about this stop is that when I got all the information from the company and started doing the tours, there was no actual information on this branch. I was supposed to talk about the Ukrainian branch and the Mustang branch, the 2 branches that were not standing in front of us. And there's all these different stories from them. They had the Sonoran Paranormal Investigative Team come out and do a whole ghost hunting thing in those 2 branches. They came out because they would see bookshelves or books fly off the bookshelves. They would hear the squeaky wheel of the book cart being pushed down the aisle, even though it wasn't actually going down the aisle. They would hear footsteps in random places, even though nobody was in the library. So they do investigations in those 2 branches. They find some creepy things, electronic voice phenomenons. They pick up a number of those. They set up a camera overnight. It gets knocked over. They can't really see what knocked it over, but nothing was in the library, so nothing should have knocked it over. So a number of things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's good and all and everything else. But the funny part about it is that when I was doing my very first tour, practice tour with another tour guide, when I was getting trained on all this, he tells me that, yeah, I don't know why we don't talk about this library. This library is haunted too. I'm like, okay, well, that's just hilarious. So we're standing in front of a haunted library talking about 2 other haunted libraries that we're not standing in front of. He's like, I know, it doesn't make any sense. So he tells me the story about this library. There is the librarian here. She has experienced a number of weird things. And there's actually an interview with her on YouTube. So if you go Civic Center Library, the hunting, you can find the librarian telling her story and everything else.
Yeah.
Now, she says that she hears the giggling of children. And when she hears it, it's always on the other side of the library. So she walks over there expecting to see, kids or whatever else, and there's nothing ever there. And she'll then hear the giggling again coming from right where she was. She walks that way, doesn't see anything. And no matter where she goes in the library, the giggling is always coming from the opposite end of the library. It's happened a number of times to her. So that's the story, the hunting of this place. But that same tour guide who was training me, a guy named Fonzie, he told me of his own story that he had. So he was here one night. He's given a tour. He's standing here looking at the library. The tour's facing him. He's going through, talking about all the stuff I just did. And throughout it, he notices that at the end of one of the aisles, there's a man standing there inside the library, just kind of staring back at them. And he thinks, all right, that's kind of weird, and I wonder who this guy is. 9 o'clock at night, I don't, why isn't it, nobody should be working? I don't know, it's very weird. But he thinks to himself, I don't know, maybe it's a security guard, maybe it's a janitor, maybe it's a librarian working late, whatever. He doesn't think too much of it. So he finishes up his tour and heads on home that night. But he can't get that thought out of his head. He just thinks it's weird. I wonder who that was and wonder what they were doing. So he decides, oh, I've got a tour the next day. I'm going to get there early and I'm going to go in and talk to the librarian. So he gets here early the next day, goes in before the library closed and starts chatting up one of the librarians. Hey, I was doing a ghost tour. I was here about 9 o'clock last night, and there was just this guy at the end of one of the aisles. I was just curious. It was a janitor, security guard, librarian working late. Who was it? And to which he says, well, this is a public library. We don't have security guards. There's nothing valuable here. He goes, okay, all right, and then who was it? She's like, it definitely wasn't the janitor. They're done by 6 and out of here. There's not a ton of cleaning that needs to take place in the library. He goes, okay, so then it had to have been a librarian, right? Working late, you had an event or something? She goes, absolutely not. There was no events last night. I was the last one here, and I left at like 6:30. Nobody was here last night. He goes, well, then who was it that I saw? She's like, I have no clue. I don't know who you would have saw, but it definitely wasn't a worker, and there was nobody here last night. So like I said, he stopped short of saying he saw a ghost, but he definitely saw something that he wasn't able to explain, that the librarian who worked here also wasn't able to explain. And there have been a number of weird incidents that have happened here, and like I said, one of the librarians is, definitely assumes that this place is haunted. So that's his experience. And like I said, this is probably one of my favorite spots. When I, come here, I always walk my route, before I meet up with the guests. And this is one of the first places I go to. I'll walk the entire length of it, looking down every single row, hoping to see something. Haven't seen anything yet, but
yeah.
But yeah. So
That one time you see it, you're gonna be like, oh,
right, right.
why is nobody around to see this?
Right. Right. Yeah. And I've had people on the tour to see things around here as well.
Yeah.
Not like, oh, there's a guy, but like I was in the middle of talking about the other two ranches, and somebody this lady sitting right next to me. She goes, "What was it?" I go, "What? What'd you see? What? What?" She goes, "Oh, I saw like a shadow or something moving there." So like, yes, on the tour have seen stuff there. I personally haven't, but I've had a number of other people think things like that. It's oh, I thought I saw something move. Little things like that.